Have you ever felt so guilty that you started punishing yourself? We usually think guilt is helpful. Maybe it makes people apologize, or maybe it helps them grow by not repeating the same mistake. But does guilt really work like that? Haven't you seen someone who keeps doing the same wrong thing and apologizing again and again? Or someone who feels guilty about eating too much and ends up eating even more? Why does this happen? A book called Guilt, Shame, and Anxiety by Peter Breggin gives us a possible answer. Let's start with the concept of the guilt. Take this sentence for example. I should feel guilty when I do something selfish. This shows what guilt is. It's a feeling that comes with a judgment, that doing what you want is selfish or bad. But where do these feelings and judgments come from? We have to go back to childhood. There is a moment when guilt takes root. The child runs around happily at home and then falls. His mother scolds him, worried he might get hurt and trying to teach him not to make a mess. Now, what happens in the child's mind? Ideally, he might think, to live peacefully with others, I should control my impulses. But a young child can't think like that yet. Instead, he feels something confusing. He may associate simply enjoying himself with something bad. When I do what I want, I get hurt. When I have too much fun, mommy gets mad. As these moments build up, he starts to mistake the need to correct a few actions as a reason to doubt his whole self. So he begins to hold himself back. This painful and self-blocking emotion, that's guilt. What does this self-defeating feeling lead to? The author says guilt doesn't make us better people. Instead, it stops us from growing, understanding ourselves, or fixing our actions. For example, imagine a violent husband who realizes what he did and begins to feel guilty. That guilt becomes so painful that he can't handle it. Then what might happen? He might blame his wife for making him feel that pain and get even angrier. Or he might avoid thinking about what he did and how much it hurt her, because the guilt is too much to bear. But what if he didn't feel guilt? What if he felt empathy instead? He would feel her sadness and pain and regret that he hurt someone who trusted him. That deep emotional connection might stop him from repeating the violence. But can guilt turn into empathy? The author says no. Instead of helping us connect, guilt blocks essential human emotions like empathy, love, and creativity. Why? Guilt is self-defeating. It pulls us inward and suppresses us, pushing us even further from outward expressions of ourselves like empathy, love, and creativity. So, what can we do with guilt? The author suggests a few methods. First, recognize the guilt. Notice that it's a self-defeating emotion. Second, stop feeding it. If you're feeling guilty, chances are you're already caught in its vicious cycle. To break free, you have to stop. But that's easier said than done. It's like when someone says, don't think about an elephant. And suddenly, that's all you can think about. That's why the only way to quiet the thought is to refocus your mind on something new, creative, or meaningful. There was a time I felt guilty just for having good things in my life. I thought maybe I didn't deserve them. So I started holding back. I pulled away from everything. I kept myself small on purpose. But I couldn't deal with the way I felt, how I was acting, and how much distance I was creating between myself and others. At some point, I realized this wasn't helping. Guilt wasn't making me better. It was just keeping me stuck. So I've decided to stop feeling that feeling. I want to use my energy in a better way. That's why I started making videos and focusing more on others. What about you? Does your guilt hold you back or help you grow?